Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Podium Esports coverage of the 7th round of the 2021 Midwest Sim Racing Association Premier Series, the Maconi Setup Shop 67, live from iRacing's virtual Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. Before we get to all of tonight's action here from the Bristol Motor Speedway, let's take a look back at round number 5 from the Phoenix Raceway.
Now working their way out of turn number 1 and 2 right now. Boyd Hogan, along with, will send him around, and everyone does a great job of heads-up driving, not making any contact with him whatsoever. A couple of close calls for here. Joe, you'll see the contact right there.
77 got loose, and the car turned down a little bit, and Mullins just really had no place. Even with the pit stop, is going to get some good points here. In fact, he might be up in the lead by the time we get to the end of this, because we got the end of the stage coming right now.
Here they come to the line here. Lap 40 will be now, and it looks like, I think Chris Hill did not get that lead just yet as they're watching the lead. Yep, Chris did lead that lap here, so we'll have to see what will happen, but I believe we got one more lap. Boyd Hogan is now your race leader.
That's the end of lap 40. So Hogan really made good on that strategy. Everybody who took the gamble on staying out looks like they're regretting it as they're getting absolutely swamped.
Coming to the line, the green and white checkered flag are out. Boyd Hogan will be your winner here of stage number 1 here tonight. Flag is out. Boyd Hogan shot out of a cannon to continue on his way with leading here at Phoenix. Rest of the field tries to get themselves organized to continue through turn. Didn't appreciate that. Continue just goes down a little bit, makes contact as they work their way through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, the 46 really kind of was an innocent victim on the first part. I hope that wasn't intentional. I don't think it was intentional.
I don't think so either, yeah. But it's as we see Boyd Hogan take the lap on lap 104, completing that. 1 lap to go here in stage number 2. As he goes through the middle of turns 1 and 2, has a little bit of lap traffic in front of him, but he will probably not catch up to them before he takes the green and white checkered. Joe, a great performance right now for the 96 Reaper Speed Lab Chevrolet as he comes through turns 3 and 4. The green and white checkers are in the air. Boyd Hogan will sweep the stages.
Everybody's coming down this.
And beginning of stage number 3. Field now working their way up through turns 1 and 2 up to speed. Boyd Hogan has pulled out to about a half a second lead over the 33 of Scott Naslin. That'll send the Soda Guys number 88 Chevrolet around. And one of the last few clean cars on the track has finally received a little bit of damage to his Chevrolet.
Yeah, it's so easy to have those miscommunications.
Here, as Hutchinson is under heavy attack from Theodore.
John could have it done. He's got mostly ahead, and there you go. Now Levine finally has to give it up.
John, could you imagine if they kept going side by side more? But I think Levine's going to try the crossover move to the inside of Theodore. Now we swatch rolls, but the caution comes out.
Oh, but who was ahead?
Comes off turn 4. Oh, just below that yellow line a little too much and loops it around.
There's a number of drivers with 5s and 6s in there.
And the answer is he does, but not a good restart compared as Boyd Hogan now goes to the inside of Taylor Butcher-Benjamin and almost thinks about taking it 3 wide for the race lead as Cole washes up. That will allow Boyd Hogan to easily take the lead off turn 2. This is 1 to go, brought to you by Canterbury RVs. Boyd Hogan leads them through turn 1 and 2 for the final time, has a 0.6 of a second lead over Logan Helton. Helton, can he find anything to catch up to Boyd Hogan, the dominant driver of the race? He's got the pole, he's got the fastest lap of the race, he's led pretty much every single lap except for a few. Off of turn number 4 for the final time, Reaper Speed Lab, Legacy Esports Zone, Boyd Hogan wins the Mercury Energy 218 at Phoenix, and a couple of cars go 2 to 3 wide off for the finishing positions.
Get him in here as we try to get a few more interviews to see from the driver's perspective. We can always talk a lot about what we think is going on, but until we hear afterwards, it's a lot more edifying that way. Here we go. I think we got him now. As we're going to pull the 63 in and see what was going on with that car since it was.
Welcome back to the Bristol Motor Speedway for the Maconi Setup Shop 67. I am your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside me in the booth tonight is Jacob Hitz, Hex Valentine, and our producer, Ryan Bauer, who's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Tonight, we're going racing for 125 laps around the last great Coliseum, but Jacob Hitz, it looks a lot different than it usually does here in Sim. That concrete, famous track surface has been replaced by about 9 feet of dirt. This is going to be an interesting round of the MSRA Premier Series.
We've never seen anything like it. We're probably not going to see anything like it again until we come back to this place when it looks the same. These guys, for some of these drivers, this is their worst nightmare scenario they've ever met in their lives. For others, this is a chance for them to break through and have a chance to get a win because, maybe they're not as great on pavement as they are on dirt. It's going to be nothing like driving a 410 around this racetrack or something like that, but it's still dirt. You're going to have to drive it differently.
Hex Valentine, you mentioned, Jacob mentioned that this is such a unique track. We've had Boyd Hogan go 5 rounds of wins. He's only lost 1 round this season. Could this be the race that we see another unique winner?
I'm absolutely betting on a unique winner here. This track, the way that it's set up with the dirt, it's going to be so unique to what these drivers are used to. I'm expecting a lot of tight and door banging racing here because the way that this track is with its setup, I don't think it's going to be a lot of clean racing. I'm expecting maybe, I'd say about a quarter way through the race, about our first big crash there.
At this time, we would like to welcome Jeff Maconi from Maconi Setup Shop to the booth. Jeff, welcome to the Maconi Setup Shop 67 pre-race show, and thank you for your support in the MSRA Premier Series.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me. We've been following along with this series. I know I've seen it around a lot, and we've looked into sponsoring it before. We had something set up, and it ultimately fell through, but now we are here, and the opportunity arose for Bristol Dirt to be the sponsored race, and we jumped on that as quick as we could.
Now, Jeff, what exactly makes Maconi's Setup Shop so different than the other setup shops people can find here on iRacing?
Our shop has been around for over a year now. Our first paid job was April 1st, but we started up a couple weeks before that. So really the beginning of March of 2020 is when Maconi Setup Shop started. And it was started by me, Jeff Maconi, and I was doing pretty much the short track stuff, SK mods, tour mods, super late models, and late models each and every week. And it sort of grew from there, but we've been around for a year now. We've learned a lot in that time. We've helped so many people out. Last year, we made it a priority to invest in the community, and I firmly believe that we invest more into the community, give back more than any other group, and that's because we're not here to get rich off of this. There's no Scrooge McDuck money pit. I live in an apartment apartment building. I'm a college student. It covers my groceries for the week, and maybe sometimes I can buy a steak if I'm really lucky. But we give as much back to the community as we possibly can. We raised $1,500 for charity last year. We gave out about $500 in just straight prize money out to people. We sponsor multiple leagues, dozens of leagues, and it goes about maybe 2 or 3 leagues per week. And it's not these big name events like this one. This is a big name event that we're sponsoring, but we sponsor a lot of the smaller ones, some of the ones that have 2 or 3 people viewing at a time, because it means that that league gets to be broadcasted. It means that those people watching at home are watching their friends and family. The people racing, they can send it to their mom, their dad, brother, sister, friends, co-workers. So we make it a priority to give back to the community as much as we possibly can, and that's what sets us apart. Our setups are phenomenal, but we are all about giving back to the community and using our platform that we're lucky enough to have here on iRacing to do good in the real world.
And Jeff, where can people find out more information about Maconi's setup shop?
Well, you can find everything that you need to know over at MaconiSetupShop.com. You go there, it'll be right at the store page, but we've also got an About Us section. You can head over to our Facebook page, Maconi Setup Shop LLC. You can also find us on Twitter. That's another thing about us. We are the only limited liability corporation, which means, one, it sort of separates us, it protects our assets, which is nice. We have that safety and security, but it also establishes us as a legitimate business. We're government recognized and regulated. We work with, actual legal authorities. We're registered. We are an actual real company. So as we like to say, do business with a real business. We're very upfront. We're very open. We're very honest. You can join our Discord. It's linked to us on our website. You can shoot us a message. You know who's behind the scenes. You know it's Jeff Maconi and my team of amazing builders that we have that you're working with directly. It's a name on the door because we put a face to our products. We stand by them through and through.
Thank you so much for joining us here in the pre-race show tonight, Jeff. We hope you enjoy the show.
I will absolutely be watching. It's going to be a great time. Going to be a lot of fun slinging some mud. Best of luck to all the drivers out there.
That was Jeff Maconi with Maconi Setup Shop. We would like to thank Jeff and everyone at Maconi Setup Shop for their support of the MSRA Premier Series and of tonight's broadcast. For more information and links to their social media, visit MaconiSetupShop.com. Now it's time for the starting grid of tonight's Maconi Setup Shop 67 from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. Logan Helton puts his number 63 Nexus Esports machine on pole. He'll start to the inside of Vincent Arthur. Scott Naslund and Brandon Davis share row 2, with Ralph Hutchison and Andrew Olson gonna share row 3.
TJ Wood starts in 7th. John Theodore lines up to his outside in 8th. Ty Cole lines up on the inside 9th. Brandon Mack starts in 10th.
Jacob Shorba is in 11th, and Buddy Hogan, is in 12th. Or 11th, excuse me.
And continuing down in row 7, Gary Sexton to the outside of that row. Kevin G starts to that inside of row 7. Wyatt Mickelson in row 8 to the inside. Stephen Davis outside of row 8. Brandon Andrews, Evan Longiger gonna share row 9. So we continue down the grid. Zach York to the inside of row 10. Taylor Butcher Benjamin to the outside. Ryan Strunk, James Love, both not setting times in row 11. Christopher Hill, Alan Dobbs gonna share row 12. And rounding out the grid, Chad Ningsman, Glenn Ballard, Cam Davidson, and Justin Carey. And a lot of drivers not setting times here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. That could be something that we're watching of drivers wanting to take it easy early on. Track facts, taking a look at them right now. Jacob Hitt, something these fans are going to notice immediately, that surface being clay instead of the usual concrete. It's going to be an interesting one to see how these drivers deal with the already fast-changing dirt surface.
Yeah, and there have been a lot of drivers not happy at this point in time because we have not reset the track since the start of practice. We started with a fresh track when practice started, and since that point, it has been worn to death pretty much through the hour of practice and out through qualifying. So a lot of these drivers aren't real happy that they're going to be driving on a pretty worn racetrack, and we'll have to see how these guys adapt. But let's take a look at race analysis here, Hex, because there's a lot to take in.
Yes, there is a lot to take in. You're absolutely right. We have 125 laps here, 66 miles if you're not a big lap guy. We got stage 1 and stage 2 at 35, and then we got our final at 55. We got unlimited sets of tires though, but I don't really think that's going to help out much here. And then we got 3 green-white checkered attempts as well. Right now it's 2:40 in the afternoon, and the weather, we're looking at 75 degrees, 55% humidity, and 3-mile-an-hour winds blowing into the west.
Yeah, so we come into this race, 7th round of the championship, and Boyd Hogan has won out of his 6 starts, has won 5 races. The only person who's been able to beat him all season long was Vincent Arthur. That was back at the Auto Club Speedway a handful of rounds ago. But Boyd's going to come into this round as the leader of the championship. But this is going to be the shake-up race of the championship in the first half of the regular season. The Irising Pace truck into the safety of pit lane. It's time to go racing from the Bristol dirt track. Let's go. They dive into turn 1. Already cars sliding, trying to get the power down. Already blocking that inside line is going to be the 63. The 24 sits in second. Still side by side for 3rd place. Further on back, they get single file as they work their way into turn number 3 and 4 for the first time. You can see cars already slipping and sliding on that slick surface. They get up and off of the corner. The 63 is going to lead the first lap. Helton leads them on to lap 2.
They made it farther than I thought they would here, Josh. I expected them to wreck before we got to the end of lap 1. They made it through lap 1. Looks like they're going to make it all the way through lap 2. Everybody just kind of riding around. No real aggressive moves throughout the field as they head back to start lap number 3.
A little bit of a battle going on further back for 5th. That's TJ Wood going to the inside in the 91, and Brandon Davis getting really tight on the outside line. He has to chase it right up the track. Now to the inside goes Jacob Shorba in the 30.
Yeah, and as we're seeing here, it's going to be a lot of tight racing. I honestly thought we were going to see a lot of more bangs on the first turn of this first lap here. As we're going around into lap 4, almost into lap 5, I was expecting at least a turnaround, but these drivers are keeping it, relatively easy going as we almost got 3 wide here. 91 and 18 meet up with the 13.
And you're on board with Jacob Shorba right now as they go battling further up, and you can see just the amount of cars now further back as we take a look at
trouble from the straightaway. One car gets turned.
One car around front straightaway. First caution of the day is out, and it looks like that involves the number 11, Christopher Hill, and it looks like the 99 of Cam Davis also involved. 2 cars around on the front straightaway. First caution of the night, and we'll take a look at this replay, and it looks like just typical Bristol. Somebody chasing that car to the inside, and Jacob hits. That's enough to bring out the first caution.
Yeah, well, they got 3 wide. The 94 of Wyatt Mickelson was in the middle, lost it a little bit on corner exit, came down the racetrack, and the 11 underneath him had to come up the racetrack. Christopher Hill, that was where he was going. He didn't really have an option. They made contact, and it turned Hill back up to the outside wall, and it turned that 99 car around. Really nowhere to go for Davidson, just the wrong place at the wrong time for Christopher Hill.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Thankfully, the 94 of Wyatt Mickelson there able to sort of avoid a lot of damage. He just had the 11 car come swiping at his door. So, heck, not that much damage for the 94, and not that much damage for really anybody involved in that wreck. A lot of those cars can continue on with limited issues later on, and I think that's something we're going to talk about through all of these wrecks tonight, because we're not at the typical Bristol Motor Speedway that's concrete, maybe relies a little bit more on aero than some other tracks. We're at a dirt track. These guys are already slipping and sliding, chasing it all around. It's going to be completely different.
Yeah, there is no traction here. It is all about slide control. Once you get into the apex and you start losing it, it's going to be very, very hard to get control of your car back. I mean, once somebody bumps you, you're gone. You're spinning around. That's it. It's end of story.
So the field pacing under caution for the first time tonight. Logan Helton continues to lead the way. He has led since the outset of lap number 1. Vincent Arthur, Ralph Hutchison, Scott Naslund, and Andrew Olson going to round out your top 5 as we are under our first caution of the night. And we'll have mandatory cautions for those stage breaks, which will be coming at lap 35 and lap 70. Then we'll have a final stint of 55 laps before we end up with the checkered flag at the end of the night. But after that first caution, now pacing under the pace truck, and we're getting a really good look at this track surface, Jacob. And we started practice a fairly fresh track surface. It was a completely fresh, a 0% wear track surface, but we had a lot of practice go down, a full hour of practice, plus 5 minutes of qualifying, plus now we're 9 laps into this race. This track surface is already worn. If you're a driver out there, you know you're supposed to search for moisture, but it just looks like a normal Bristol track out there right now. Where's the moisture?
There might be some down in the apron that they might be able to use. I think that's the one spot they haven't run a whole lot. These guys, they're going to be starting on the bottom. That's pretty much what we saw in that first green flag run. They were running the bottom for the most part. You had a couple of guys running the high side, but the guys running up high couldn't hold it. They were jumping the cushion, getting into the wall. As we get further along in this race, the bottom is going to be completely useless, and these guys are going to be forced to run the high side, just like the Bristol we've known for the last 10 years before they threw PJ1 all over it, where the outside line was king. That's what we're going to see in the last 50 or so laps of this race.
So what a lot of the drivers were saying, they're going to be searching around and they might end up against that wall a little bit later on. Back underway onto lap number 11, and the 63 on the loud pedal very quickly. The 51, Ralph Hutchison, going to go to the inside of Vincent Arthur looking for second, and he's going to grab it. The 51 is up into P2 as Andrew Olson in the 42s completely slides it in there, almost makes contact with the 24, but he doesn't. He did, however, get by the 33 of Scott Noslin. A great move from Andrew Olson, completely throwing that 42 into the corner.
I can't believe they made it.
I couldn't believe it either. I mean, this is getting some really close, almost dangerous levels amounts of driving here. These guys are door to door, bumper to bumper. There's no room here.
And they make their way back through turns 3 and 4. There's still double file going on further back as Helton tries to check out from the field. Hutchison Arthur not letting him get away. Further back in the field, taking a look at the number 6 machine, sitting in 17th, and this is where you get a really good shot of all the cars racing up ahead through the midfield. A lot of battles going on further back, some close contact going on further up. The 49, Zach York, sliding it in that middle line. Some smoke up ahead, and it looks like more cars just slide around trying to find those grooves.
Yeah, right now it's a free-for-all. You've got guys trying to run any line they can. They're trying not to run over each other, which is difficult to do. This isn't like a Martinsville where you've only got one line to run at. You know, Bristol has got some lanes to it, even when we're not on dirt. The problem is that there's only so much room for these guys to go before they start running into each other. That's what makes dirt racing so exciting. It's so difficult for these guys to make passes, not kill each other in the center of the corner, and still gonna drive off and compete with each other. This is a great show so far.
On board with Gary Sexton, 17th. Looking up at Jacob Shorba into the inside. Look at that move from Scott Noslin. And the 18, Brandon Masajewski, trying to go down to the inside as well. A whole bunch of cars making their way off of turn number 2. And you can see Scott Noslin working that inside. And you're on board now with the 96 of Boyd Hogan. Here comes your points leader working up his way through the field. And the 18 works the inside. You can see the outside line. The 13 is trying it. Same thing with Boyd Hogan in the 96, trying that outside line. Just doesn't look like anywhere as good as we're 3 wide now heading into the corner, Hex.
Yeah, I mean, this is about the typical race that I was expecting here, Dirt Bristol. We're going to see lots of 3 wides. As we see here with 96, we got the 13, the 14 lined up. I mean, this is just really close contact race. You see the 40s try to get in between and make a move, but every time he tries to get into that middle, 14, 13 make contact, they touch, but they keep it together. But as you can see here, it's so hard to make a move. But this is exactly what we were expecting, you know? It's going to be 3 wides, lots of door bumping, lots of bumper pushing. It's going to be tough to make a move. You just got to wait for somebody to mess out here in order to get your position back.
Gary Sexton in the 13 trying to work his way around the 40 of Alan Dobbs. The 14 and the 18 make contact a little bit further up. That's going to open the door for the 40 now on the inside. Dobbs look to that inside line. It looks like a lot of drivers starting to experiment down there on that inside. Nobody really able to make it work just yet. To the outside now, Boyd Hogan, who you're on board with, is the 13 of Sexton. Sexton is riding that wall all the way up on the outside line, and it looks to work coming off of the corner. He has a great run in the 96.
Yeah, he got a great run on the outside coming off the corners. The problem is that right there, driving it too hard in the corner, hitting the wall, you lose all your momentum. You're going to lose 5-6 car lengths right here, just like he did there with Boyd Hogan. Hogan's been running the outside. He's hit the wall a couple of times running it as well, so you can run the high side just fine as long as you can keep it off the wall. If you jump the cushion, hit that outside wall, you're going to fall back and pay the price.
On board now as we take a look at the 63 of Logan Helton. He sits in second as Ralph Hutchinson got the lead, the first lead change of the day. And the 63 now trying to hold the 24 back, a little bit of a bump and run coming from Vincent Arthur. Now the 63 runs the outside line. Andrew Olson sits in fourth, and you're now looking back from your leader, Ralph Hutchinson. Look at the move on that middle line from the 63, and it's stuck. He grabs second place now.
Yeah, we're going to see lots of hard battles for every position here because, you know, it's extremely slides here. There's no grip whatsoever on this track. I mean, look at the line that they are racing on. It is practically going back down to concrete here as we get into the 25th lap of our race here. There's just so many things that could go wrong while trying to hold your line here. You give him an inch, he's nowhere else to go.
That car you saw on the inside, and we were just on board with the 88 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who currently sits in 26, one lap down. He was not in that battle for the lead, but going back to that battle for the lead now, they're starting to reach lap traffic at the tail end of the field as we're nearing the end of stage number 1. It's going to end on lap number 35. And we'll call the caution, and we'll be going racing for another 35 after that in stage number 2. Another incident on the field. Andrew Olson almost getting around, and you can see that 42 slow on the inside line, getting passed by multiple cars. It looks like he saved it, but we are under the next caution of the evening, and a huge pile up on the back straightaway.
Oh, that's big. Brandon Andrews, he's one car around. As 42, he got some assistance there. That's the reason I yelled. I didn't expect him to save it. So this involves the 94 again. He gets loose coming off of turn 2, hooks the 93. The 99 gets involved in another one. He gets hit, and somebody comes flying in there. That's the 97 of Ched Gunningsman, who comes flying in there on the brakes just too fast. Hits the 93, square in the door, gets hit again by the 30. That's Jacob Shorba, who is running 4th. So you've got leaders getting involved in this, as this wreck was in the back half of the field. Battle for 22nd spot right in front of the leaders. And tough break for the driver of the 30 car.
Looks like majority of those cars get by clean. Like you mentioned, the 97 getting in there, nowhere for him to go, and it's hard to get those brakes locked up on dirt. And we've seen that a lot of the setups that drivers are running here will put the brake bias all the way down. The lowest percentage it'll go to basically tap the brakes, gets the car to rotate. So these drivers on dirt do not have that experience with that hard braking, and it's not something we talk about really with late model sprint cars, big block modified, slamming on the brakes to avoid an incident, because you slam on the brakes on dirt, you're going around. And Hex Valentine, that's another thing that these drivers need to watch out for, because this race is so unique. Instead of asphalt, we're on dirt. It brings its completely new challenges, and avoiding a wreck is one of those challenges.
Yeah, it's almost going to be near impossible to avoid a wreck, especially with the way that with these dirt tracks, once you see it happen and your car's committed to going straight, it's almost near impossible to get it going the other way in just a split second. You know, time matters when it comes to avoiding a wreck, but with dirt, it's just near impossible. You know, you just got to fold your arms up and wish for the best as you eventually make contact with the car. But once it happens, it happens. It's just so darn hard to avoid contact here and avoid accidents.
So we're pacing under caution, only a handful of laps before we take our first stage break on stage number 1, which is coming up in about 4 laps. Looks like we're going to be going back to green before then and running a quick stint into that green checkered flag. to end stage number 1. But early runnings, it seems like Ralph Hutchinson, the 51, Logan Helton, Vincent Arthur, Jacob Shorba, Andrew Olson really seem to be the Fab 5. But something I want to bring up, Jacob Hits, because we were talking about it before we went green, is Boyd Hogan. Boyd was way down the order when it came to practice. He wasn't that normal Boyd Hogan, and even going into qualifying, he didn't seem like that normal Boyd Hogan. You know, the one that his lowest finish this season is second, and that came at Auto Club, and he's won every single race this season except for that one at Auto Club. It's going to be challenging for Boyd now because he's sitting in 8th. He has to keep on working his way up through the field, and he's going to miss out on this stage win. Only one of the handful of stage wins he's also missed out on.
And he was complaining a lot before the race started about the condition that the track was going to be in, and he's figured it out. He's adapted. He's made his way up to the front, and we're going to get 2 to go to finish this stage. He's probably going to try and pick off a few more drivers here before this thing's said and done.
2-lap shootout to finish out stage number 1. We're back underway as Barney the Flagman waves that green flag, and already looking to the inside is the 63 of Logan Helton. Multiple cars trying to get through, trying to grab those stage points. The 24 Vincent Arthur dives down to the inside, and a wreck on the back straightaway brings out the caution out, and that is going to be the stage break. The 33 involved, the 81, 27, the 90, multiple cars involved going into turn 3.
And that was a classic case of too many cars going for the same spot on the racetrack. They were 3 wide. The 33, I think that's the 33, and the 49 were battling. Zach York, Scott Naslin. Naslin thought it was clear. He wasn't. He got turned, and it was on from there. And this is a track blocker. This is kind of like the accident we saw in the June race last year with Jimmy Johnson and Stenhouse, where just one guy's not clear and the whole pack's going to pay the price. And we talked about with that last wreck, it's difficult to avoid wrecks when you're driving on dirt. Yeah. and typically when you get a wreck up at the front of the field, you're going to take multiple cars with you just because it's difficult to get out of the way and avoid these guys. And when you have cars going different directions on the racetrack, going up, coming down, it's going to get pretty messy.
And you just saw that mess on the replay as they worked their way down the back straightaway into turn 3. This will bring out the 3rd caution of the night, and will also bring out the end of stage number 1. And we're going to head into stage number 2 after this stage 1 caution. But your winner of stage number 1, the 51 of Ralph Hutchinson. Tonight's stage 1 winner is presented by Shorba's Racing Graphics. SRG offers great services at affordable prices with iRacing paints, logos, numbers, and even t-shirts. $5 from each sale are donated to the Midwest Sim Racing Association end of season prize fund. So then you can visit them on Facebook at Shorba's Racing Graphics. Guys, a great stage number 1. We had our fair share of incidents, but overall some really great racing. And Hex Valentine, I gotta assume that's gonna be what we're gonna see the remainder of the night. Yes, we're gonna see those incidents. Yes, we're gonna see those cautions, but during the green flag parts, we're going to see some great racing up front, and these drivers already starting to experimenting with lines.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great show. I mean, even though these drivers are not used to racing on dirt, they are holding it together very well. We are getting some very fantastic moves up and down the grid. And I mean, just look at how scattered we are on the grid now. I mean, we got Brandon in the 91, he dropped all the way back down to 21. He qualified 4th. This is just the unpredictability of dirt racing. Anything can happen here. It just takes somebody else messing up. But as you were saying before, this is some of the best dirt racing I've seen in a very long time, especially from drivers who are not used to it.
Yeah, and we talked about earlier that these drivers would have a real challenge because racing stock cars on dirt is not something that's common and something that's really a specialty race when it comes to a lot of races and a lot of series. But when we're talking about iRacing, this isn't just new to these drivers here in the MSRA Premier Series. This is new to everybody on iRacing. Everybody's learning this track with these cars at the same time, and whether it's Class C fixed, A fixed, NASCAR iRacing Series. This is a challenging racetrack that these drivers have all had to learn, because up until the last update, these drivers have not been able to race the NASCAR Cup cars on dirt. And this is something brand new for everybody. We're green, stage number 2 underway. Who's going to walk away with this victory as they dive into turn 1? Two teammates up in front. Ralph Hutchinson, Vincent Arthur go through onto the back straightaway. You can see Logan Helton gets a little bit up out of the groove in the 63. He still sits in third. Looking further back there, too wide now for the 6th spot. James Love on the inside. Powering on the outside is Jacob Shorba. Here comes their points leader, Boyd Hogan. He's working the outside line, hitting the wall.
Yeah, he's done that a lot, and he's going to keep doing it, but it doesn't matter. He's still going to gain the spots. He's just slinging it up on that high side. He's taking advantage of the grip that's up there, and he is flying through this field. He's up to 5th here at start-finish. I don't know. I think Boyd Hogan may come in as a sleeper, and he might actually win this darn thing.
He's one of the few drivers working the outside line. Almost getting around is the 24 of Vincent Arthur. He's slow on the inside. Multiple cars trying to get around him now on the outside.
Trouble,
line.
turn 3.
Also behind him. Turn 3 incident. One car around on the inside and 2 cars around on the outside line. Looks to be... not sure exactly who yet. I believe one of them
Evan
is
Longacre.
the number... I believe one of them's the number 6, and he's going to go around again. And I believe it was the 11 wrecked up on the outside line. I don't know who was with him. More trouble as we reach the first caution of stage number 2. 4th overall on the day. Hex, what exactly happened here? You can see one car get loose on the outside.
Yeah, we see one car gets loose on the outside here. We see the... excuse me, sorry. We saw a car get loose on the outside here, and as he was going up, he's bringing other drivers with him, and he gets turned around. And as the drivers are going by, even after the wreck, we saw cars trying to get back on track, making contact with people going around them as well.
So the 11 went around the outside. That was the 10 slamming into the 11. Sorry, Jacob.
We got championship implications in this wreck. Ty Cole, he came in late. He wasn't in the kind of parking lot up there on the outside, but he did bounce off of the 11. Ty Cole, he sits 4 points out in the playoff standings right now. Yeah, we've got a long way to go till we set the grid for the playoffs, but I'm sure he'd feel a lot more comfortable on the top side of that line than on the bottom side of that line.
And definitely Ty Cole now scored down in 27th on the timings charts. And there's the replay of the 10 slamming in there. Same thing with the 41 just a tad later. But as I was mentioning, Ty Cole now down in 27th in that number 41 machine. He's fighting Ryan Strunk in the 77 for that spot. And Ryan Strunk sitting now in 13th. So he's a good bit of ways down. And that's going to lose him a bit of points on that cut line. Now, if you want to see with the round of 16, it's going to start after Daytona, which is going to be round number 26, August 28th, 8 p.m. Eastern, live right here on Podium Esports. So you can tune in for that one. And any race from the Daytona International Speedway bounds to be an exciting one. But we're here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, covered in dirt as it was this weekend. The qualifying races for both the trucks and the NASCAR Cup Series getting canceled today. They'll race at 4 p.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. The NASCAR Cup Series in the afternoon, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series in the evening. So replacing those qualifying races with the virtual stuff like we saw in the NASCAR Pro Invitational Series. And Hex Valentine, so far tonight, this has been a good race. We're seeing a lot of exciting racing when we're able to go green for multiple laps at a time. And it's already looking cleaner than that Pro Invitational did the other night.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of high-stress racing, but this is really, really good stuff that we're seeing here. We're seeing lots of moves, lots of drama being made on the track here, which is some of the most unfortunate wrecks. I mean, the grid and the field is so spaced out right now when it comes to where we started and where we are right now. I'm not too sure if we're going to get Hogan to win this. I honestly don't think he'll be able to push back up the pole.
Back underway here in stage number 2 on the lap 47. Look at the move on the outside line. Logan Helton in the 63 powers around the 51 of Ralph Hutchinson. He tries to close the door. There's contact for the lead. Hutchinson makes contact with the 63. He loses a lot of momentum. Now going to stack the field up further back, and here comes Boyd Hogan on the outside line. Logan Helton checks out on the 63, and there's a huge battle going on for P2 on back.
You were saying about Boyd Hogan not being being a shot for P1? He's got a shot to make it all the way up the middle.
Up the middle, and he's gonna second. What a move from the 96.
Well, he's definitely making me eat my words right about now.
A huge move up the middle for Boyd Hogan. He moves up to second, still working that outside line.
He's looking like
and
a
they're
natural
still 3 wide.
Calamity going on right now as we reach lap number 51. They keep it clean, we stay green, and now here comes the 51. Ralph Hutchinson back to the inside of Boyd Hogan, looking for second place. Logan Helton now checked out, the biggest gap for the lead all day, 1.6 seconds, but the battle for second right now as Boyd Hogan tries to power around the outside.
He's trying. He might make it work. It's certainly going to be difficult for him, but because Hutchinson's really been strong on the bottom pretty much the whole day, but Hogan's doing everything he can. If he can keep it off the wall, that's going to be his best shot to get a run on the high side.
And there he goes, getting that run on the outside line. It looks like the speed mid-corner is coming from that middle to low line, but that speed on exit's coming from that high line that Boyd Hogan used to go right around the 51. Still battling with Ralph Hutchinson in the 51. As the 51 works that inside line, he's trying to get down there, just not able to do much. The Great Lakes Motorsports Ford Mustang working the inside line. He's going to fall back a little bit more. Caution is out. An incident somewhere on the racetrack. The
Front
10
straightaway
of Evan Longaker slow on the front straightaway.
Yeah, I heard him come over the radio and apologize. Looking at the replay, it's going to involve TJ Wood as well. 10 just got a little too loose on corner exit. TJ Wood had nowhere to go. He was just biding his time on the bottom. They made contact, and the 10 hit the inside wall very hard, coming to a dead stop head on. Just nowhere for TJ Wood to go, and really just it's so close for Longacre to hang on to that car and keep it going straight. Just wrong time, wrong place for him.
So that brings out another caution on the day, 5th one of the day, and the 2nd one of stage number 2. So we go on board with Wood, and yeah, like you said, Jacob, nowhere for him to go. And a couple of these cars without those front bumpers looking like big block modifieds out here on the track. It's actually kind of cool to see and fits a little bit more of that dirt racing pedigree that we are living up to here tonight. But Logan Helton, I think the main story of that restart on that after that last caution, Hex, because he really hit that loud pedal, got out in front, and did not look back. I believe that gap got up to about 1.8 seconds before the caution came out. But Boyd Hogan with that 3 wide move up the middle. What an insane move to put himself up into second on the leaderboard. I mean, that is just a move that we have not seen, and I didn't think anybody was going to be brave enough to do it this early.
You know what? It's like he heard me talking back here, and he just said, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. And he just pulls off this incredible move into second place. And I think with this caution here, with Logan being right in front of him, I think he's actually going to be able to pass Logan here and just get a breakaway. If not, it's going to be a serious battle between Boyd and Logan here for first place. I mean, this is incredible. Some of the moves that he pulled off right then and there, it was outstanding.
And you saw that lower third our producer Ryan Bauer put up just a moment ago. He has, in the last 3 races, he has 3 wins. And in the last beginning rounds of this championship, he has only lost 1 race, and that was at the Auto Club Speedway. So that 96 is on fire. The gap to second place in the points right now is 124 points. That is insane right now. So he is lighting this series on fire, Jacob, and he is going to be in the catbird seat when it comes to the championship and when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the schedule for the playoffs, I think a lot of the races that are in the playoffs he's already won at because they've already run them already. You know, Daytona, well, that's the cutoff, but still, if he had to be worried about it, ding. Phoenix, that's the finale, ding. Vegas, ding. Boyd Hogan is the guy to beat for this series, and as of this point, nobody has figured out a way to beat Boyd Hogan on a consistent basis. Nobody.
Logan Helton has an opportunity today to be the second driver of the season to beat Boyd Hogan. Boyd Hogan's worst finish is second place. That is insane, where he's only lost one race, and when he lost, he finished up in the runner-up position. So where will Boyd Hogan finish? Well, we still have a lot of racing to go. Stay tuned here on Podium 2, because we're right back to green flag racing here on the Bristol Motor Speedway with the dirt surface. To the inside for second place. They were 3 wide momentarily. Now side by side for second with the 51. That's Alan Dobbs in the 40 on the inside. Boyd Hogan going to make it 3 wide as they make their way out of turn 4. The 96 still working the outside line. And a huge run for him. He makes contact. The 51 into the 40. Dobbs into the apron. Makes contact with Sexton.
Oh, there they go.
Oh, they turned around.
Parking lot, turn 2. At least half a dozen cars.
Yeah, I think I saw at the tail end there, I think it was Gary Sexton. He got turned around at the very end of it as we were going into the caution, and he just ended up getting turned around in a big pile up here.
This is something I didn't think we might have to talk about with Boyd Hogan, but I thought it would come up at least some point in this broadcast. It's getting the runs off of the corner and having nowhere to go. The 96 had nowhere to go on that run. When you're running the outside line, to get such a slingshot coming off of these corners, it seems like, and he had nowhere to go. The 51 came up to cover the spot, and he didn't have any time to react. Contact with the 51, sent the 51 into the 40. And there was nowhere for the 40 to go. He was trying to get back going, and Hex, it was just slight contact with the 13. The 13 was around enough cars, and we have a parking lot in the corner like Jacob mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're about halfway through our race, and this track is just getting more and more dug in. You know, it's going to be easier to lose control of your car here, and it only takes just the slightest touch on dirt for a huge accident to happen. I mean, it's just so slick out there right now.
Taking a look back on the 27 of John Theodore on that incident. Definitely not what any drivers wanted there. 6th caution of the day. As we work lap number 63, only a handful of laps left before we will conclude this stage and make our way into the final stage, stage number 3, for the remaining 55 laps of this race. And it looks like we might have a different Stage 1 winner, but Logan Helton has gotten that lead back in the 63. Your winner of stage number 1 is Ralph Hutchinson in the 51. He has an opportunity to go 2 stages in a row, but he needs to get by the 63. And Jacob, the 63, it seems like once he gets back out in front, he might lose the lead periodically here and there, but on these restarts especially, he just goes off like a torpedo down into the corner, and it's hard to re-catch him after he's already a second into the lead, or at least over 7/10 of a second into the lead as they go through turn 2.
Well, it's pretty easy for him. He floors it on the restart, he gets out ahead, and nobody battles him because nobody can get to him. That's the reason he's able to pull ahead. While everybody else is battling for second on back, he's able to just let her rip and fly ahead. And we saw that when he took the lead under the last green flag run, or the green flag run prior to that. You know, he got by the guys that were battling for the lead, like Hutchinson and Arthur, and they were stuck battling Boyd Hogan. He just hit cruise control and took off. So clean air does wonders here for Logan Helton. And if Boyd Hogan isn't the guy to beat, Logan Helton, I think at this point, is the guy to beat.
And we're going to see here very soon as the lights are out on the iRacing Pace truck. And we're going to go back to racing here for the remainder of the stage. We're going to have about 4 laps of green flag racing until that stage break is here for stage number 2. Logan Helton lead the field into turn number 1 to his outside. Ralph Hutchinson. There's Boyd Hogan, your points leader in the 96, sitting in 3rd. Andrew Olson in the 42 in 4th. And Vincent Arthur, former eNASCAR Ignite Series driver, going to round out your top 5. And here we go. Back racing here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. 4 laps remaining here in stage 2. Already maybe a little bit of contact. The 96 on the 51 of Ralph Hutchinson. To his outside now is the 42 of Andrew Olson. The 24, Vincent Arthur, sits back looking. The 96 dives it into the corner, makes contact with the 42, makes contact with the 24. They're now 3-4 wide, making their way off 4.
Yeah, that was a cluster right there, and now we got trouble, and Vincent Arthur gets around the 86.
here. John
The
Theodore.
27 cannot.
And the caution is thrown. And it was just a chain reaction
Theodore.
there, it seemed like, Hex.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one thing after another there. I mean, I'm pretty sure Barry's arms are getting tired swapping flags here from yellow to green, but, you know, that's just how it goes in dirt racing.
It started with contact up in second place, and it ended with a wreck about halfway through the field. It was just chain reaction after chain reaction, and you can see it was just cars just being next to each other, maybe just a little bit too close. It looks like maybe John Theodore dove it into the corner a little bit too much, but you could try and put blame on 10 drivers there, Jacob, and I don't think any of them are really that justified.
Yeah, it was just a stack up, and nobody could get out of the way, which is the problem. You're limited only so much room here, and when you've got everybody bunched up, it becomes gridlock, right? It becomes like I-95 on a Friday afternoon. You can go absolutely nowhere. You're just stuck. And in this case, it's going to wind up in some cars getting torn up, and that was the end result here.
So back under caution, and this will indicate the end of stage number 2. Look at the 88 going down to the inside. He got right on by that incident. Only a handful of cars involved on the inside. So we're under caution once again here at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, and that ends stage number 2. Logan Helton in the 63 will grab your stage 2 win. Tonight's stage 2 winner, Logan Helton, is presented by HutchCo. HutchCo has been proudly serving the northeastern Colorado community since 1999, pouring the foundations of countless homes and shops. The MSRA commemorates their service as their business ends operations. HutchCo has long desired to be involved in racing and has joined the Premier Series to fulfill that dream. Thanks to HutchCo for their service. So now as we end stage number 2, we're a little over halfway done with this race. It's time for the Strunk PC ones to watch. You can check out Strunk PC on Facebook for your computer repair needs. Jacob Hicks, starting with you, who is your one to watch as we enter stage 3?
I thought about taking Lloyd Helton. I thought about taking Boyd Hogan. I couldn't let myself do it. I'm gonna go with Ralph Hutchinson. He's in second spot. He's been up at the front pretty much since the drop of the green flag. I don't know if he's got anything for Logan Helton, but with how wild these restarts have been, I think he's got the best chance to move that 63 out of the way and take his first win on the season. I'm going with Ralph Hutchinson.
Hex Valentine, what about you? Who are you watching as we enter stage 3?
You know what? I'm going to say it. I'm going to pick Logan Helton as my driver as we're going into stage 3 here. The man has just been breaking away from the pack so consistently. He has found his line. He's stuck with it, and he has been consistent. He's even avoided a few wrecks here and there. He hasn't gotten tied up or into too much trouble, you know, with drivers coming to his side or even 3 wide, as we saw earlier. But I think he's got this in the bag tonight, but he's going to be a very tough battle between Logan, Ralph, and James here as we go into the green here soon.
Well, I gotta go with a little bit of a dark horse, the 42 of Andrew Olson. He sits second place on that outside line, starting in 4th as we go back to racing here in stage number 3. That was your Strunk PC ones to watch as we begin the final laps of this race. Stage 3 is underway as the field gets up and off of turn number 2. Battling for second place, here comes Andrew Olson in the 42, diving into the inside line. He gets to the inside of the 51 of Hutchinson. The 14 gets a little bit loose on the inside. He gets back up on the racetrack, a little bit wild, but he keeps it safe as the battle for second continues. The 42 versus the 51 as they work off turn 2.
Yeah, Andrew also got out of the gate really, really strong. That 14, James Love, he kind of bottled himself up getting on that restart. Almost lost it a couple times through 3 and 4. So that really allowed Olson to slide into that 3rd spot and apply the pressure to Hutchinson. But take a look. Helton is not pulling away as much as he did earlier because Hutchinson and Olson are just staying nose to tail for right now.
And they work back into turn number 3, and you can see Olson trying to experiment with those lines. He worked the inside line right off the restart. Now working the outside to middle line, trying to find where that grip is. A little bit of contact with the 51, sends him up the racetrack. He's going to lose momentum. Here comes the 40 of Alan Dobbs now looking for 3rd place.
Yeah, it's going to be very tight and hard racing as we get deeper and deeper into this track. As you can see here, we got Hogan, he's hitting the wall again. I mean, it's been his victim this entire race is when he goes up and he just bumps that wall as he tries to find his line. And we got caution out here too.
Yeah, TJ Wood got turned around. He got turned around in turn number 2. Yeah, 4 wide. He was already sideways through the corner, and the 18 really had nowhere to go. Brandon Mack, he was just kind of running his line. The 90 came down and nowhere to go, and around goes TJ Woods. So not the first time we've seen him go around, and hopefully it's the last time we see him go around tonight. Get him a good run here.
And that puts us back under the yellow flag, 47 laps to go. And you can see there's the 90 around in the corner. And we've seen so many incidents tonight, Hex, and I can't help but wonder, these drivers out up front who, let's be honest, we haven't really seen many large incidents, or many incidents for that matter, really happen top 10 and up. Usually it's back in the midfield behind the top 10. So are these front runners really watching these wrecks, and are they going to start to maybe calm it down, or are they just going to keep ramping up the racing because they're not seeing the incidents? The incidents are happening so far back.
You know what? If you're out in that front, it's next guy ahead of you. You don't care about what's going on behind you. You are locked down to the car in front of you. You got to keep it going and keep it moving, because positions here are so tough to come by. I mean, if you're in the middle of the pack, you could probably bet on the wreck happening and you could move through that field. But when you're in this top 10 spot and it's getting clean, and even as they're going 3 wide of the top 10, they are keeping it consistently nice. Like, they're not turning each other around. But as the top 10 driver, you are looking for the next guy ahead of you. You are not gambling on a wreck here. I think you just got to find your line and stick with it. Somebody's going to match up eventually, but I don't think it's going to happen for a top 10 driver.
Well, Jacob Hitz, you chose Ralph Hutchinson during that ones to watch to really be that driver that's going to get it done tonight. He hasn't really been able to get up out of second place since stage number 1. Logan Helton got right back to the lead in the 63, but we saw him battling with the 42 of Andrew Olson there, and he was kind of holding that same line that he's been holding all night, and it seems to be working for him. Is that something that these drivers are just now figuring out, even so late in this race, that, okay, this line works, it has grip, I can run it comfortably, that's the line I'm going to run? Is searching for lines kind of done, at least for the moment, until they need to make a pass?
I don't think so. I really don't. Just because if you're back in 5th, 6th spot, you're going to be looking for a line that's even faster than what you are running. So that way you can catch the guys in front of it. Because that's the only way it's going to happen, is if you find a better line. So I think some of these guys are going to keep searching as time goes on. And I'm glad I picked Ralph Hutchinson. I was going to pick Vincent Arthur in the 24, and he got shuffled out of the way on that last restart. So I'm happy with the decision I made here on picking Ralph, because he's holding down the fort nicely in second spot.
2 teammates of Andrew Olson and Alan Dobbs share row 2 as we go back to racing here. 43 laps to go from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Logan Helton continues his strong night out in front, and you can see the 42, a huge dive for Andrew Olson. He slid right up the racetrack. Now his teammate, the 40 of Alan Dobbs, back to the inside, looking for more spots. The 42 works the outside line, immensely loose up there, no grip for him. Now up into 4th goes Zach York in the 49, and here comes Vincent Arthur in the 24, trying to work his way back into the top 5.
And Ralph Hutchinson turned into that corner way too early as we got a car around in turn 2. It is, I passed him. Gary Sexton, that's it, in the 13. He looped it around. Not sure if he got any help in getting around. Looks like he may have.
Yeah, he found some help.
A little bit. Well, he found some arrow loose, some net code there. They didn't actually make contact, but iRacing thinks they made contact, and I guess that's what matters. But either way, Sexton goes around and brings out yet another caution.
So we're under the yellow flag once again, and which is unfortunate for the 13 and Gary Sexton. He is around in turn 2, and that spells another wreck for the 13 of Sexton. He was involved in, I believe, 1 or 2 earlier on in stage 1 or 2. And he is having a bad day, turned to worse, and he is going to be pacing around back in 22nd, trying to salvage all he can on the racetrack as we continue under the caution once again. 40 laps to go here in the Maconi setup shop 67, and we would like to thank FSM Customs. FSM Customs offers custom button box builds for sim racers across different disciplines of racing. In addition to boxes, FSM also offers custom decals to customize your rig even more. Flip the switch on your sim rig and check out FSM Customs on Facebook. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors here in the MSRA Premier Series for all their continued support here on Podium Esports. As you are watching the Maconi Setup Shop 67, we are under the 9th caution of the evening here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Jacob Hitz, Hex Valentine joining you here in the booth tonight. Ryan Bauer in the production trailer using cameras provided by Dougie Beard, and Hex back under the yellow flag. And we've been kind of talking about it all night, and we talked about it before we went into broadcast, that we were kind of wondering where the number of cautions would be. But even with 9 cautions in a state of about 80 laps, obviously not the best. We would like to, you know, have a sprinkling of cautions in there, but you know, the green flag racing we've seen, it has been great green flag racing. I mean, it's been drivers diving in there, trying a slide job, running 2, 3, sometimes 4 wide. When we keep on moving in this race, is that how you're expecting them to race? Hopefully caution free towards the last 20 or so laps of this race?
You know, that's what you always hope whenever you go into a race. You want to see good, clean racing. You don't want to see a lot of cautions. But I couldn't agree with you more, Josh. The green flag racing that we have had here tonight has been extremely great. Some of the moves that we've seen tonight from some of these drivers, it seems like it's like they've been driving dirt forever with some of the moves that they were pulling off. But it's all about the moves that you make while you have them here in dirt, because those opportunities are so little. Even with 9 cautions, I don't think it could have been as bad as it is. I mean, we still got 37 laps here to go, and I expect more green flag racing here.
Well, we're about to go back under the green flag here from the Bristol Motor Speedway as the Irising Pace truck pulls it back into the pit lane. And there's Barney the flagman waving the green flag as we go back underway here in the MSRA Premier Series Maconi Setup Shop 67. 37 laps remaining as everybody fights for that inside line. That seems to be the preferred line right now as there's a huge pile up coming off of the corner. 4 wide there for a moment. Contact to the 14th. Contact with the 42, the 40, multiple involved on the inside line. That ended up being way less of an incident than I thought it would be, but still more cars piling in.
Man, that's just unfortunate.
Alan Dobbs got battered, dipped, and fried in turn 3. I mean, he got hit 4 or 5 times, hit the pit barrels. I mean, they're 4 wide behind him. Andrew Olson sent it up the bottom. So did the 14 of James Love. They made contact. Dobbs had nowhere to go and then couldn't hold the brakes. Got hit by 1, 2, 3 cars. And that car is junk at this point.
Another just unfortunate wreck involving a good bit of cars through that midfield as we go on board with Wood as he enters the corner.
You know, that was just an unfortunate accident, but when you saw them going 4 wide here, you could just almost smell the accident coming a mile away. I mean, as he was trying to get back onto his line, he just lost it, and then we just saw a bunch of cars get turned around. And as we saw earlier, as he's just getting pushed against those barrels and hit, like, did you see, like 3 or 4 times, Jacob? I think you're right. I think his race is over. I think that's going to be our retirement right there.
Well, somehow it's still rolling, but it doesn't have a hood. It doesn't have a TV panel. I'm not sure it even has a spoiler at this point on it. Okay, it has a spoiler, but barely. He's going to be sitting on pit road for quite some time. No fast repairs here, so he's going to be sitting for a while.
Well, we will have time as we enter another caution here in the Maconi Setup Shop 67. And there's one of the other damage race cars, the number 99 of Cam Davidson. As he paces on the field, he has worked his way back up the field a little bit, up into 20th now. And we're still taking a look on the replay of the 99 as he enters the pit lane. Currently still sitting in the pit lane as the field will work their way back around with the 63 and the 51. Still 1-2, and Jacob, just talking about it, we see a lot of times, especially in official races on iRacing, that we get these just sort of cautions breed cautions, where we're not getting a lot of laps under the green flag in between these cautions, and the positions relatively stay frozen. That's kind of how we've been with the top two. Logan Helton just has been the master of restarts tonight, and we just keep getting restarts. The 51 of Ralph Hutchinson has no opportunity to get around him. Does he need a long green flag run to be able to get that lead back?
I don't think so. I think he just needs Helton to make a mistake, get close enough to clean him out. Because I think that's the only way he's going to get by him, is if the 51 just goes in the corner, throws caution to the wind, and murders him. Otherwise, I think Helton's got this under lock and key, just because of the amount of cautions that we're getting. And that number is not going to go down. At this point, it's going to keep going up because everybody's going to be fighting for every spot they can. They want points. And, you know, we're coming up to 25 laps to go. We're at 30 to go here this time by. So it's going to be chaotic from here to the checkers.
Will Logan Helton make a mistake? He's perfect on the gas once again as we go back into turn one. 30 laps to go here in the Maconi Setup Shop 67 from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Onto the back straightaway they go, fighting for second place. Multiple cars starting to go up to the outside line. Boyd Hogan now on down the inside. Another caution is out. Who is involved in this one? Looks like the 21 of Justin Carey around on the back straightaway.
I mean, like he said, caution breeds caution here, especially on dirt. I mean, this is just where I think we're up to 11 now on cautions, aren't we? I mean, this is just a bunch of unfortunate accidents as we've seen here, but the track is just so dug in. And as you can see here, 77 was just getting a little bit too fast and bumped the 21 out here. He gets sent to the wall, but man, these cars have been put through the grinder here as we continue on in this race with 28 to go here this time by.
Jacob, I was talking with a couple of the drivers before they hopped in tonight, and I mean, we saw one of the drivers basically say they're going to be racing on about 5 to 6 different racetracks tonight. And while they're staying at the Bristol Motor Speedway, the track is just going to keep developing and keep getting those grooves. And right now, it just seems like it's slick everywhere. There's nowhere these drivers can run where they can find that moisture. Right now, it's just fighting that slick groove that you can see. Both turns are completely black from the apron to the wall.
Yeah, the track is killed. I mean, it's toast. It's done. You know, the fact that they're going to try and get 27 more laps out of this track is a miracle. Realistically, maybe they should have reset it. But, I mean, it still provided a great race. It's just the drivers are going nuts.
We are under the 11th caution of the night. 27 laps to go here in the Maconi Setup Shop 67. And we would like to thank Dirty Air 13 for their support. You can check out the 13 of Gary Sexton's stream. And you can check out also all the replays of his incidents tonight. See exactly what happened from his perspective in car. You can visit twitch.tv/Dirty Air 13 to see Gary Sexton's in-car perspective of tonight's race from the Bristol Motor Speedway. And it has been a tough race for the 13, starting to regain a couple of positions. He's back up into 12th, running behind the 90 of TJ Wood. And you can see he's currently 12th, starting in 14th, so he's net up 2, which is good. So he's improving on the night, battling back from all those incidents that he has unfortunately been involved in tonight. But we're working now, lap 100. We're going to have 25 to go when the field comes back around over the start-finish line. And Hex, so far tonight we have seen all these incidents, but the racing really has not died down. It has been some great racing up front, but I want to talk about restarts because Logan Helton has been the master of restarts tonight, and he just keeps getting that perfect start on the throttle. Did Ralph Hutchinson, Vincent Arthur, Jacob Shorba, I'll go as far back as Boyd Hogan in the top 5. Do they need better restarts to be able to pass the 63, or do you think they can get a long green flag run and hopefully get them there after a number of laps?
Well, I believe with the restarts that Logan has found here, he's just found his groove tonight, especially coming off of these cautions and with these restarts, like you said earlier. But I'm going to be honest here, I think they're going to need a long green flag. We got 25 to go here, and without these long green flag races, it's going to be very tough to make up these positions.
Back underway, 24 laps to go as they enter turn number 1 once again. The 13 of Gary Sexton finds himself in the middle, further back. He's fighting with the 33 car. Now multiple cars diving into the corner. The 30 of Jacob Shorba works the outside line. A solid number of cars starting to migrate up to the outside, working the wall, trying to get that speed. Held out in front, more trouble. Caution is out. Another incident on the racetrack. Who's involved in it this time? Looks like it might have been the 93 of Brandon Andrews involved. I think I saw another driver, the 21 of Justin Carey, around.
Yeah, I looked up and saw the 27 of John Theodore have 2 wheels up in the air. He was at the start of this. He bounced off of, who is that guy? A little loose, bounced off of Andrew Olson, got careened back into the outside wall, spun around like a top, got hit in the left rear corner and got up in the air, and got sent back down into the 41. So a couple different cars playing pinball here on the front stretch.
Take a look at another on board. That's the 27 of John Theodore, and up into the wall and gets treated like a pinball there in the middle of the track. Taking a look now up on the roof. There's the 27 of John Theodore, and there it is, just the 42. And Hex, this is something that people who do a lot of dirt racing on iRacing will know. If they're using one of the automated spotters that iRacing provides you, not a live spotter, those spotters can call outside and inside a little bit late than what they normally would be because of the way dirt racing works. You normally slide up into another car that, normally you would call them outside, but they're just not there for the iRacing spotter to pick up. Seems like that's been a number of the incidents tonight, just the drivers not knowing there's anybody there because the spotter's not saying anything.
Exactly. Like, I've done my fair share of dirt racing. Like, I've got about 40 or 50 under my belt, and the automatic spotter, he's almost completely unreliable when it comes to cars coming in on your inside outside. Like you were saying earlier, like having an actual pair of eyes here will make all the difference. But that, like you said, that spotter, he just becomes unreliable to a certain point. But I want to point out, we got James Love, Steve, and Zach here. They started 22, 16, and 19. If that doesn't dig into the unpredictability of dirt racing here, I mean, they are 6th, 7th, and 8th here. These guys have been battling through racks and getting up there and getting more points for themselves. It has just been an incredible night here.
And we work now, 19 to go as they make their way back past the start-finish line. And working still under caution, but we are very close to the end of this race. All these battles going to reach an end at some point, and that point is coming very, very soon. Will we see more green flag runs? Will we see more cautions? Stay tuned right here on Podium Esports to the conclusion of this race. Coming up in the post-race show, we'll have interviews with your top 3 finishers on the night. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And as of right now, Jacob, looks like one of them is going to be Logan Helton. One of them is going to be Ralph Hutchinson. And it looks like the third is going to be Vincent Arthur. They have been the top 3 all night. Do you think they can stay that way?
With Boyd Hogan in 4th and Jacob Shorba, who fell back and has now got his way back up to the front, he's running 5th. I don't think this top 3 is set in stone yet. We've still got a little over 15 laps to go for the top 3 to wreck, take each other out, and completely shuffle this thing up. So, no, I don't think we're done yet.
Well, we're getting ready to go back to racing. 17 laps to go when they come across the start-finish line. And we'll be waiting on a conclusion for this race. The light's still on the iRacing pace truck. We're going to go one more lap around, so we'll be going green with 16 laps to go. Next time around, lights should be out on the iRacing pace truck this time by. Field going to get double file and ready to go. And Hex Valentine, earlier on, you took Logan Helton in your ones to watch, presented by Strunk PC. Are you still going with Logan Helton? It seems like still a good pick, as he has pretty much led since the beginning of Stage 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we were talking about earlier, he's become the master of these restarts. As soon as they kick off, he is gone. He is separating himself from these wrecks. But I think a long green flag here, I completely agree with Jacob from earlier. I think Boyd's got a chance. If we get a long green flag, it's going to be a good battle here for top 3.
Back underway in the green flag, 16 laps to go as they go back into the corner. Look at Boyd Hogan in the 96 running that outside line. He did it really well earlier on in the race, got all the way up to P2, trying to get back up there. You can see him drifting the car up on the top line.
There it goes again.
Involved. Caution is out. Another incident on the racetrack.
Tell you what, Zach York went around, but Ralph Hutchinson finally was doing what he had to do. He hit the back of the 63 2 or 3 times going through turn 3, peeked to the inside, coming back to the stripe. If we wouldn't have had the caution, I think he would have been on the inside of Helton going into turn 1, but it looks like Zach York just a little bit of contact with the 18 of Brandon Mack, and around he went.
And you can see that contact there on the replay. The 49 going around. He was able to keep going, but iRacing officials calling the caution there for that car going around. So we're back under caution here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. That lap counter continues to count down. And Hex, I'm wondering, because we have so many cautions now, the field just keeps getting frozen where it is. Are red flags starting to get signaled for all these drivers that, you know, they might not have many more opportunities to make moves happen?
You know, I think that's the question on everybody's mind right now, is that we haven't had a long green consistent flag until about the, I want to say, the second split around stage 2. I mean, it's been very, very hard for anybody to get anything going because we've been frozen. For like the last, I want to say, maybe 10 laps, we had, what, 3 cautions? It's just been all over the place. It's been very, very hard for anybody to make a move. As we saw, like, Boyd, he keeps going to the outside line, and then with Ralph, we saw him up against Logan, as Jacob pointed out earlier. He could have made the move. He was right there, but unfortunately, again, we had another middle of the pack accident, and we're right back to another yellow flag, and we're right back to another reset.
We'll be going green right after this. Stay tuned. You're watching the MSRA Premier Series Maconi Setup Shop 67 live on Podium Esports. Don't go anywhere. More green flag action is coming up next.
At Maconi Setup Shop, we offer custom-built setups for any asphalt oval car. Prices starting at just $5. Weekly setups available for all Legends, late models, modifieds, and NASCAR trucks, Xfinity, and Cup cars. Do you need one-on-one driver coaching? We've got you covered. Visit www.maconisetupshop.com and find yourself in Victory Lane. Maconi Setup Shop, handling all your setup needs so you don't have to.
And welcome back to the Bristol Motor Speedway. You're watching the MSRA Premier Series, the Maconi Setup Shop 67 on the Bristol dirt track. Joshua Lee joining you here in the booth alongside Jacob Hitz, Hex Valentine with Ryan Bauer in the virtual production trailer. Lights out in the iRacing pace truck. We're going green this time by with 10 laps to go. And Jacob, we were talking under that quick break how these drivers really can't do anything with these short green flag runs we're having. Do you think that move for the lead is going to come on a long green flag run, and could we see it here in the last 10 laps?
Oh, we're not seeing a long green flag run at this point is a lap and a half. We haven't completed a full lap under green in probably about 10 laps. It's going to be a miracle if we get farther than that. Hutchinson was right there on Helton earlier. Let's see if he can do it here, getting into 1 or getting into 3.
We're back on the green flag, and there goes the 51 right on the back bumper of the 63, working all over him as he comes on to turn number 2. Vincent Arthur, his teammate in the 24 for Great Lakes Motorsports, sitting right behind. Here they come into the corner. You can see the 51 trying to slide to the inside. Jacob Elton is there. Here comes your points leader, Boyd Hogan, into the picture. He's on the outside for 3rd.
Man, that 51, he's dirt tracking it, no kidding. But he's all over the place. Here comes Vincent Arthur. Boyd Hogan back on the top of the track. He wants a shot at this. Everybody keeping it green for now. I hope I didn't jinx it, but there's contact for 2nd. They're all hanging on as here comes Hogan trying to save the day on the outside.
The 14 of James Love now joining the fight. He's in 5th. Hogan getting caught up on the outside line. He's riding the wall as he makes his way through turn 3. Another caution is out with 8 laps to go. The 96 was literally wall riding up on the top line, but it's gonna fall short as the 42 of Andrew Olson around on the back straightaway.
And you know what? We saw Vincent. He was putting the pressure on Logan as we were getting by, but as soon as that caution comes out, it's right back to another restart, and it's been very, very unfortunate here with all these cautions going out.
And there's the replay. The 42 goes around out of turn 3, but Jacob, what racing we had during that green flag run. It's showing that Logan Elton might not be the fastest car on the racetrack. Arthur was there, Hutchinson, Hogan was starting to work his way up there, and James Love in the 14. Mr. Where did he come from? We haven't seen him in the top 5 all night. He might have a shot to win this race under green flag.
We'll see what he can do on the restart. Boyd Hogan, I don't think he's going to have a shot at the win. You know, I think Helton is too strong on the bottom. I don't think the outside's going to work for Hogan. So if Hogan wants to get the win, he's probably going to have to switch his line up. As for anybody else, I mean, they just need to get to Helton and bump him and move him, because I mean, Hutchinson was there, them battling opened the door for Vincent Arthur, and he was there trying to get Helton out of the way. If they can move Helton to the high side, it's going to be like the Oregon Trail. It's going to be an onslaught of cars just trying to fly by him as quick as they can and send him to the back of the field so we get somebody new up at the front.
With 5 to go, this race about to reach the end of the checkered flag. And taking a look at the points as we inch closer and closer to round 26 at Daytona and the playoff cutoff, we have had 5 wins on the season from Boyd Hogan, and he's up there now mixing it for the lead. But where he sits in 4th, if he finishes in 4th, that'll be his worst finish of the season. He finished 2nd at Auto Club, and that is currently his worst finish of the season. He has won every single race since then. Vincent Arthur, who sits in 2nd, has been the only driver to beat Boyd Hogan to the checkered flag so far this year, and he did that at Auto Club earlier this season. Logan Elton has an opportunity to become the 2nd driver of the season to beat Boyd Hogan to the checkered flag. Vincent Arthur has an opportunity to keep him being the only driver beating Boyd Hogan to the checkered flag, and Boyd Hogan looking for his 6th win on the season, sitting there on the outside line. He'll be starting 2nd on the outside, in 4th on this restart. And as we come back onto the front straightaway, we'll get that 1 to go signal, and we'll be going green flag racing with 2 laps to go. Now, if a caution comes out on this next green flag run, we will have opportunities at overtime. And the way overtime is going to work here in the series is we have 3 green-white checkered attempts, meaning they'll run 1 lap under green. And then the next flag that comes out, if it's not the caution, will be the white flag. And then once they take the white flag, they will race back to the checkered flag. No cautions can be thrown after that point. But we're not exactly there yet. We might get there, as we are now taking the green flag. Helton right on the throttle as we go back to racing, looking for the lead. If we see a caution here on this lap, we'll be going into overtime. Boyd Hogan sends it into the corner on the outside line. They're 3 wide for 2nd. Here comes Hogan down to the outside of Ralph Hutchinson. Will we see them come back to the line and take the white flag? Logan Helton leads the field off turn 4. The white flag is out, 1 to go. Sponsored by Canterbury RV, and Logan Helton leads the way. Here comes Boyd Hogan. He rides the wall. Touch touching the wall, scraping it as he comes off turn 2. One final attempt for the 96. He's not gonna get there. Logan Helton wins the Maconi Setup Shop 67 from Bristol.
And congratulations to him. He was killing it on every restart every time a caution was up. But we saw Boyd, and this is the way we were talking about earlier, gentlemen. Those long green runs, I think he would have been able to catch up and take the win here tonight. But as we all saw, those resets, they kept Logan in the front, and I'm not saying that's the reason why he won. I'm just saying because he had excellent launches off of all those restarts. But if we had longer green flag racing, it would have been much more up in the air on who was going to take away this win. But congratulations to Logan. He held it all the way through.
And still, Boyd Hogan's worst finish, second. He still has an incredible 1-point-something average finish on the year. This guy just cannot finish worse than second, it seems like. But we finally have our third different winner with Logan Helton, and he pretty much had a vice grip on this whole race. And it's good to see that he's able to finish the deal off.
The 63 started first and ended in first. A great day for Logan Helton. He takes a Polish victory lap around the Bristol Motor Speedway. And we'll take a look at your full results from the Maconi Setup Shop 67. Logan Helton walks away with the win. We talked about Boyd Hogan. A great day for him. Is finishing in third. Ralph Hutchinson, he had another good day. He led a few laps, won stage 1, ends up in third. James Love, we didn't talk about him really all day. He finishes in fourth in the 14. And Gary Sexton, what a rally back after all the incidents he had today. The 13 finishes in fifth. Vincent Arthur finishing in sixth. Kevin Giodrozic finishing in seventh. TJ Wood in eighth. Stephen Davis in ninth. And Brandon Davis rounds out your top 10, Jacob Hitz.
Scott Naslund finished 11th. Jacob Shorba rounds out the top 12. Then Ryan Strunk in 13th. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in 14th. Zach York rounds out the top 15. Brandon Mack in 16th. Brandon Andrews in 17th. Justin Carey 18th. Wyatt Mickelson 19th. And Andrew Olson, your dark horse pick there, Josh. He rounds out the top 20.
We got John Theodore, he finished in 21st. Cam Davison, 22nd. We got Glenn Ballard in 23rd. Alan Dobbs, 24th. Ty Cole, we got him in 25th. Chad Ugisman in 26th. Evan Longair in 27th. And Christopher Hill at 28th.
That will round out your field. A great day here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, covered in dirt tonight, and it was a great race. And we have a couple of interviews waiting for your top 3. We're going to get their perspective on what exactly happened tonight. Looks like the first one we got is Ralph Hutchinson in the 51. He's now standing by with Hex Valentine.
Ralph, how you doing?
I'd be better if we went green for longer, but how are you?
Oh, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, if I was saying this whole race, if you guys would have had longer green flag sessions, I believe it would have been more up in the air and more tight battles, but you did extremely well. Started 5th, finished 3rd. How did it feel out there?
It was definitely very, very slick, and it was extremely interesting. How you had to run that track. There were other lines, but it really seemed like the bottom was the way to go. You could get some decent rotation in the slick, and then if you could get just a little bit of that tack on your left side tires, you could get a decent run down the straightaway. So I know Boyd got the top working at one point and was able to pass a lot of people. We were just a bit too free for it. But yeah, definitely a handful.
Yeah, it was definitely a big handful out there. What would you say was the most difficult part of tonight?
Really would have liked to go green more. I think, as you know, the saying cautions breed cautions, we really found ourselves in a bit of desperation trying to make passes. Got into the back of Logan myself a couple times, knowing it was time to make something happen towards the end, because it just had that vibe that everybody was going very, very hard. So I'd say that was the most challenging thing, is just time and restarts, being kind of trapped up on the bottom. He was doing a really good job of working me up there. There wasn't a whole lot I could do. So I would say just the overall desperation from the amount of caution flags we had tonight.
Yeah, we did see a lot of cautions. We also saw a lot of 3 wide. Hell, we even had a couple of 4 wides in there too tonight. But I gotta say, you raced extremely well out there, Ralph. Could we see more dirt racing from you in the future, though?
It's something I'm definitely interested in, and I spent a bit of time last summer doing it. It's just so time consuming to work on this A car week in and week out, but it's something I'd love to do moving forward. I want to give a shout out to our new sponsor, Go Fast Don't Die. We're very, very excited to have them on board. I think it's going to be a great partnership for this team. Thanks to Maconi Setup Shop for putting this race on tonight. All the lead sponsors, everybody who makes this possible, I just want to say thank you to them.
Yeah, I'm sure they're very thankful to have you as well, Ralph. Any final comments, questions, concerns?
One more green flag run, just one more. That's all I'm asking.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Ralph Hutchison, everybody from Great Lakes Motorsports here tonight, finishing 3rd.
And a great day for Ralph Hutchinson in the 51. Thank you for joining us here in the Podium Esports booth. And it looks like standing by next is going to be your race winner, Logan Helton in the 63. We'll get him up here into the Podium Esports booth. Logan, welcome to the booth, and a great day from you. Domination all day long. You only lost the lead there for a handful of laps. How was that race from your perspective there in the 63?
It was really good. I had a lot of fun. I heard there was a bunch of stuff going on in the back, and obviously I realized it with the cautions as well. The amount of cautions weren't ideal. I really wanted to get a green flag run in there just to show my pace and see how far I could have pulled away. But a couple times there, whenever we did get like a 5-lap run, I pulled away by a good amount. But yeah, that last restart, I just wanted to take it really easy. I knew that if I pushed it, I probably would spin out or lose time. So I just was very easy getting on the throttle, and I tried to nail my restarts every single time to try and change them up, go at different spots so they wouldn't be able to predict it. And I guess it worked out.
How much did that track change over the course of the race? Because we saw a huge change from the start of practice to when we went green at the beginning of the race, but was it really that much of a change between the beginning of the race and where you were in that last green flag run?
Not really. I was expecting this race, whenever we started to be reset, the track to be reset to 0% usage, but it was not. So to be honest, it really didn't change throughout the whole race, which I was looking forward to run the top some, to run the bottom some, but once I saw that the track didn't change at all, I knew it was going to be the bottom the whole way around.
You now become the 3rd person this season to win a race, and only the 2nd person this season to beat Boyd Hogan in a race. What does this mean for the championship fight for you and the 63 team?
It really helps bring the confidence up some, knowing that I can fight with the best there is, and I got a good team at Nexus Esports behind me, helping me with the car and everything. And yeah, I'm glad I could get a win, especially after last season whenever I came in and subbed a couple times. And this will be my first full-time season on the Saturday nights. It's pretty cool.
Anyone else you would like to thank here on Podium Esports?
Thank all my friends and family for watching. You guys at Podium Esports for putting on the awesome broadcasts. Everybody at MSRA Premier Series for putting these on, and of course the sponsors of this series: Maconi Setup Shop, Shorba's Racing Graphics, HutchCo, FSM Customs, Dirty Air 13, Strunk PC, and Canterbury RV for all they do for the league, and everybody in the race that was racing pretty good up front.
Well, thank you very much for joining us up here in the booth. Logan Helton, your winner in the 63 for Nexus Esports. Now we're going to transfer over to the 2nd place finisher on the night. That's Boyd Hogan, who is also your current points leader. He's standing by with Jacob Hitz.
All right, Boyd, you survived. Let's start there. A wild night for you. You started in the back, or towards the back. I know you weren't happy with the fact that the track was worn down to almost the concrete before we even got the green flag, but still a nice rebound to finish second, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's... I'd say it was about wore down in the concrete. Everybody was, just rolling the bottom, and I don't know, I don't know where to start, dude. That was about the worst race I've ever been involved in, and we had 30 cautions at Martinsville last year, so that should say enough. But yeah, all in all, good rebound for the 96 camp. Got to thank everybody at Reaper, at Legacy, Bruzy, Jake Nichols. I mean, I wasn't the best, when it came to dirt, especially in a cup car. It's weird. The whole feel is weird, and the way that they got the track is just, to me, it doesn't drive right. And obviously, I don't know who's taking care of the track, but they need to get the hell out of here, because that was a horrible track to start in, and it was a worse track to finish in. That race was an abomination. But I got to thank Chris Hill, Dalton Collins, Jake Nichols for, first of all, did you see that blue, man? That paint is one of the sickest paints on the sim, dude. Jake Nichols is a badass painter and a badass driver, and he taught me a little bit of how to drive this place. So luckily we came from the back to the front probably, 3-4 times, rolling the top. It was nice when everybody just kind of got out of the way and started rolling the bottom, because we could make some hay up there. This was a bad bitch by the time I got done with it, and I felt like we were going to win the race, and that just didn't pan out because I don't know. There was not a whole lot going on in front of me. There wasn't a whole lot going on in the mirror, so I don't know where they were wrecking. It must have been the grandstands, but sad I wasn't a part of it on lap 3, because that was I should have been getting drunk 2 hours ago, man. There was a lot better things I could have been doing.
So you still managed to finish second after all of that. A testament to your driving. It's still your worst finish on the year is second. It matches your worst finish from Auto Club. Are you ever going to finish outside the top 3, top 5? Are you just going to consistently be winning or second? I know second sucks, but what do you think? Is there another track coming up that you think that you have circled like, oh boy, this is going to be trouble?
Well, I know we got Martinsville, Richmond coming up. I got those circled as like, I'm looking forward to them. I don't know what's after that. Probably Talladega or I don't know, something else that's kind of just off the wall and stupid to even be racing. But I mean, it's hard to finish. I don't know how we've managed the top 2 streak that we got going. It's cool to have that, and if anything, it's more of a testament to everybody at Legacy and the boys at FSR. The whole alliance there. Because like I said, every week, we're bringing badass cars and running up front every week, and it's awesome. Like it's a great experience to be part of it. So hopefully it doesn't end, but it's coming. It's coming for sure.
And finally, here, quick, any last words? Anybody you want to thank? Say hi to.
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank you guys. I'm sure there's plenty of things you guys could have been doing that was way better than broadcasting this. I don't know what the hell you guys showed all day, but it must have been an adventure for you. Yeah, I mean, thanks to everybody for putting on the league. Again, just wish the track worker, whoever the hell that was, wasn't around, because it would have been a better race doing that. Wish everybody could have kept their cars straight, but got to thank you guys for putting on the show, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if you could call it a show. I don't know how it was. I tried putting on a show for you. Hell, we were 3 middle at one point. That was fun. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys. Everybody being part of the team. Everybody involved.
Well, congratulations on the second place finish, and we'll see you in the next race recall. Congratulations on the second place, and best of luck in the next one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you guys for surviving.
Well, that's going to conclude a great day here from the Bristol Motor Speedway, live here on Podium Esports. It was, at the end of the day, Logan Helton going to victory lane in the 63. We have a lot of great upcoming events coming up here on Podium Esports. And, of course, starting with the MPI Cup Series, round 11 coming from Atlanta tomorrow night, March 28th, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. You can find that on twitch.tv/Podium Esports. Coming up Monday night, Anthony Alfredo Kratos Esports Racing League. The Cup cars at Richmond, March 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on twitch.tv/ERL_racing. Then it's another round of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. This time from Auto Club. Can Logan Clampett go back to back? You find out on Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/iRacing. The next round of the 2021 Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series from the Volusia Speedway Park. You can find that March 31st, 9 p.m. Eastern on Podium 2, right here where you're finding this broadcast live. IndyCar iRacing Challenge from Sebring. Find that April 1st, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/iRacing. So a lot coming up in the next 5 days, but then stay tuned. April 8th, the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series enters round number 3 from the Richmond Raceway, the road to the cutoff line of the top 70. Twitch.tv/Podium Esports for that one. And then the next round of the MSRA Premier Series that we'll be broadcasting here on Podium Esports is round number 12 from Darlington. You can find that May 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern, live here on Podium 2. Jacob, what a day from Bristol Dirt, and we're going to continue on the MSRA Premier Series. We'll continue on with the rest of the championship. We'll be back in a few rounds time to call another round of it from Darlington, but moving on in the championship, we have shown Boyd Hogan is not bulletproof. He can be beat, albeit not by a lot.
Yeah, he can be beat for first, maybe not the rest of the grid, you know. And this is a track that he didn't like. He really wasn't a fan of running here, and he still wound up bringing the thing home second. So if that's not a testament and scary to everybody else that's in the field, I don't know what's going to scare him at this point, because that alarms me at the fact that Boyd Hogan could drive up there pretty much driving a brick and wind up finishing second. That's scary to me.
And Hex, it's a little bit early to be talking about that cut line, but we do need to mention it because the two drivers that were on that cut line, 16th and 17th, Ryan Strunk and Ty Cole, did not have the best days. Ty Cole finished down in 21st, and Ryan Strunk finished up in 13th. So Ryan Strunk starting to extend that cut line. Ty Cole falls back. We're still a long way to go, but those drivers on the cut line need to start making their way up to the front so they're not caught off guard later on in the rounds.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it might be too early to talk, but this track right here, it was the make or break for that cut line. I mean, it was about as unpredictable as anybody could have thought, but just the way that this track was set up and just the track conditions that these drivers had to go through, it was anybody's race when we first started. But as soon as those cautions came out and Ty couldn't move up, and then Ryan was able to hold his position because of the caution flags and stuff like that, it was very tough. I felt like as soon as you got your position halfway through the race, you were locked in. That was it.
We'll be back here in the MSRA Premier Series live on Podium Esports for round 12 from Darlington on May 8th. But for now, we are signing off. For James Pike, Cisco Scaramuza, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore at Podium Esports. For tonight's team, our producer Ryan Bauer, cameras by Dougie Beard, and for my colleagues in the booth, Jacob Hitz and Hex Valentine, I am Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast, and we hope to see you tomorrow night for the MPI Cup Series live from Atlanta.